So this is what is today's topic, introduction to construction aspects of aseptic area. So we'll define first what is aseptic area. Aseptic area is an environment controlled in such a way that it causes minimal contamination of microorganisms and particulate matters into the formulation. Now, areas in parental processing, there are different sections for parental formulations. So the sections are classified as clean area, controlled area, aseptic area, quarantine area, packaging, labeling, and product storage area. Uh, and this is the layout of the processing area. Okay, we are going to study in detail layout of parental processing with respect to material flow, equipment flow, and personnel flow. This is just an outline. So if you see aseptic area, then first is the supply and storage area. So, sorry. So this is where all the equipments and raw material come and stored, and the preliminary processing is done here. Next is controlled clean environment. So here we have some control over the air quality of the room here, and we have certain processing here like weighing, filtration, sterilization, etc. And then we have aseptic area, which is also known as critical area. So here the air quality is more stringently controlled so as to prevent microbial and particulate contamination. Then again we move to clean area where packaging occurs and the product storage. So supply storage is known as clean area. The quality of air is controlled but less stringent as compared to the controlled area. And further, the controlled area quality is little less as compared to aseptic area. So if you see, the aseptic area is surrounded by controlled area and the controlled area is surrounded by clean area. Okay, so we are going to see further in the chapter. That time you will understand better. This is only for today's lecture. We have some idea of how aseptic area is constructed. Okay. Again, this is the zone classification of aseptic area. We are going to see further this in the chapter. Today is general, it is just an introduction. So if you see the very first diagram, we have 7 environment zones starting from 1, from the most exterior place to the 7, which is the most interior place. And as we progress from 1 to 7, the quality control of air becomes more stringent. So this is zone 1, which is the extreme exterior of the aseptic area. Okay. Then, so zone 1 is marked by the walls of construction of the area. Okay. Next is zone 2, so where warehousing occurs. Okay. Zone 3 is general production procedures like unit operations like cleaning and drying and all that occur in general production area zone 3. Zone 4 is the clean area. So here some weighing, mixing may occur, or cleaning of bottles and drying occurs. So these are the primary packaging materials. So it is done in clean area. Then zone 5 is weighing, mixing, transfers and sterilizations all occur in zone 5. Zone 6 is the filling area. So this is a buffer area around the zone 7. And zone 7 is the critical area where the product is actually exposed to the external environment. So this area is critically controlled, and zone 6 surrounds this area to prevent microbes to go into zone 7. Okay, so we'll have entire filling room, but the filling pipes or filling stations will be exposed only or open only in zone 7. Okay, so thus we have various classifications of the air quality. Okay. Indian government defines classification as white, gray, and black. So black area is the one where storage or warehousing occurs, and there is no such control over the air quality. So there will be lots of dust particles due to transfers and transit of people and storage of materials. Okay, gray area is equivalent to clean area. So gray area has some quality control over the air, and white area is equivalent to zone 6 and 7, so where the product is actually exposed to the environment and it is the most critically controlled environment. Okay, so similarly, we have further classifications as European classification, US classification, ISO classification. So Europe classifies as A, B, C, D class, and as you progress from A to D, the air quality decreases. US classification says that class 100, class 1000, class 10,000, class 1 lakh, class 10 lakhs. So they have numbered these classes based upon the number of particles of the size zero point 0.5 micrometer or greater in size present per cubic feet of the air. So if control the number of particles of the size zero point 0.5 micrometer or greater in size per cubic feet of air equal to or less than 100, then this class is called as class 100, which is equivalent to class A in European classification, and it is equivalent to class 5 in ISO classification. So this classification also we are going to see in detail when we'll see uh, uh, validation and maintenance of aseptic area. This is only for your knowledge today. The aseptic areas and the area surrounding the aseptic area are classified in a way so that you will be able to understand construction requirement of the aseptic area. Okay. So whatever we are doing in sterile products, okay, it is all those efforts are made only to prevent presence of microorganisms and particular matters and other dangerous substances and endotoxins into the formulation, and the only reason is because we are injecting sterile formulations directly into the bloodstream, so that bypasses all the defense layers. Okay, so all these efforts and the entire subject is concentrating the special efforts made to formulate sterile products and to prevent or to have maximum safety of the patient. So जो भी construction भी हम पढ़ रहे, it is with viewpoint to minimize or to eliminate rather the contamination of the sterile products. Okay. So next is construction requirement. So site of the premises. Aseptic area should be designed at a site away from the general manufacturing area, which has other products which may be non-sterile in nature, and there are passages, lifts, and corridors for movement of man and material and vehicles. So this all cause generation of particles and microorganisms. So to prevent ingress of this contaminants into aseptic area, the aseptic area should be away from all general facilities and manufacturing area. Okay. Each stage of the production should be carried out in separate rooms of clean, controlled, and aseptic area. So as you saw in earlier slides, the area is classified as clean, controlled, and aseptic. So if we go with Indian government classification, then clean is gray area and controlled is white area. Controlled and aseptic area are white areas. So this gray area serves as the buffer between the black area and white area, and few formulation steps or the unit operations which will be done into clean area, which does not require sterilization uh, in the formulation of the aseptic formulations. I'm sorry, sterile formulations. Okay, next is storerooms for sterile material should be adjacent to the aseptic area for minimum transit and contamination. So this is another requirement to be bear in mind, that yes, you will have storage room for raw material and storage room for the final product, and you'll have one storage room for the material which is sterilized and stored. So storeroom for non-sterile raw material and finished product will be little away as compared to the storeroom for the sterilized material. Okay. So the sterilized material should be as near as possible to the aseptic area. This is because while carrying out or while transferring sterile material from their storage room to the aseptic area may cause contamination of the sterilized material by particulate matter or microorganisms. So to minimize this chance of contamination, the storage room of the sterilized material should be adjacent to the aseptic processing area. Okay. Next is size of the room or the premises. So aseptic area should be constructed in such a manner that the justified number of personnel can work at a time comfortably into aseptic area, because this area will have restricted entry of the personnel, and maximum work will be automated, but still few human interaction is required, whether to monitor or to carry out certain operations. So there will be justified number of personnel who qualify to get entry into the aseptic area. So the sufficient space must be there inside to have to so that this personnel can work easily inside. The rooms should be spacious enough to place required facilities and the movement of man and material such that it causes minimum hindrance to the environmental conditions. So inside the aseptic area, to maintain the asepsis of the air, there will be pressure of the air greater inside the aseptic area than the exterior of the aseptic area. The air flow will be controlled, it will be unidirectional. Maybe from the floor the air is getting inside, and from the from the ceiling the air is getting inside, and from the floor it is moving out. It will have certain velocity, it will be laminar, it will be coming into layers. So if there will be drastic movement of facilities or equipments of or the personnel inside, then it will cause disturbance into the airflow and the pressure which is created. It will cause rise in temperature, it will cause formation of new particles and microorganisms, and this will result into contamination. So if the room is spacious, equipments are such placed that it causes minimum turbulence to the laminar flow, and there should be and it provides minimum movement of the personnel, uh, because the equipments are logically placed into the sequence with respect to the progress of the procedure. So thus the internal environment will be controlled. So for this you should have a required space, otherwise it will all result into jumbling of equipments and personnel and materials, and that will spoil the quality of controlled air. Okay, now we'll see some requirements of floors, walls, and ceilings. So all surfaces, including the floor, walls, and ceilings, must be smooth, easy to clean, disinfected, and be constructed to minimize microbial and particulate contamination. Corners and angles must be rounded for the easy cleaning. Let me go to the next slide to explain this first point. If you can see this diagram, the diagram which is on the right top corner, okay, if you can see the corner or the junction between ceiling and wall at the top, and the junction between wall and the floor at the bottom, it is rounded. Okay, so you can wipe it off easily and keep it clean. If it is not rounded and it has an angle or it is sharp, it is very difficult that the broom or whatever cleaning equipment is used can remove the dust at the inside of the corner or the junction point, if you can make out here. Okay, so it is difficult to clean in such angles, but it is easy to wipe off on the rounded surfaces. Okay, so the corners or junctions must be rounded in nature to have easy cleaning and disinfection. Otherwise, if dust and microbes accumulate there, and by the flow of air, if they dislodge from the area of accumulation, then they may gain access to the sterile product. So that is what is mentioned here. Everything should be cleanable. It should be able to go under disinfection, and the corners must be rounded so that there will not be any accumulation. And if accumulation occurs, we cannot prevent accumulation, but if accumulation occurs, the cleaning and disinfection becomes easier. Okay. Next is the floor, walls, and ceilings will be made up of two kind of materials: non-flexing type of materials and the flexing type of materials. So non-flexing type of material is the solid material which will give strength to the construction. So it is concrete used must be adequately sealed with the material resistant to chemicals, solvents, and cleaning fluids. So this is the cements and bricks and whatever is used to make the structure of the premises. This material is known as non-flexing material. And over the non-flexing material, the flexing material is layered. So flexing materials are made up of synthetic elastomers, of which most commonly used are polyvinyl chloride. And polyvinyl chloride flooring is easily repaired, cleaned, and relatively inexpensive. So again, if you look in the diagram, we have solid construction of walls and doors, and all this construction have another layer. ये यहाँ से दिख रहे हैं कि हमने एक layer निकाल दिया है. So this layer is of polyvinyl chloride layer. So it becomes now possible to wash all the walls and floors and ceilings with detergent and then apply disinfectant. Uh, and if anything is teared off like this, then you can have a proper cut of the material, and then you can paste another material such that the what you can say, you can fill the gaps between the newly pasted material with the one which is previously existing. So that is the advantage of polyvinyl chloride and other elastomers. So everything, first it is constructed by non-flexing material, and everything is then covered or layered with flexing material. Okay. The walls must be made up of non-inflammable or fire-resistant materials. Okay, generally plasters can be you can say you can paint the plasters, but if you have noticed, the plasters mm, crack out due to variations in temperature due to weather or seasons. So that will result into chipping. So generally plaster walls are easily damaged by impact, so plaster should not be applied. Rather, such materials which are resistant to impact and chipping must be applied. Yeah, I'm sorry. एक minute, huh? Okay. So now you must have seen in rainy season, fungus grow on wall. So to prevent microbial growth on walls of the aseptic area, 1% 8-hydroxyquinolone or pentachlorophenol, etc., may be added to the paint or the PVC flooring so that such kind of microbes do not grow and prevents contamination. Epoxy resin paints are and polyurethane paints are also used to avoid cracking and peeling. The ceilings are sealed to prevent entry of microbial contaminants. Fittings of lights, pipes, and supplies of air, various supplies like compressed gas, water, etc. Air circulation ports should be concealed as far as possible, and they should be fit flush. So that means all the ceiling fittings will be concealed inside, and whatever comes out like light fitting we have, then the light fitting level should be should go inside with the ceiling, and it should form a smooth surface. There should not be any boundary around the light fittings or ventilations. Wherever it is boundary or differences in levels, there the dust and microbes will accumulate. So it will, such kind of smoothening is known as fit flush. Okay. Internal fittings such as cupboards, drawers, shelves, and equipments must be kept to the minimum so that you can prevent accumulation of dust, and that also reduces burden over cleaning and disinfection. Next is doors, windows, and services. So doors and windows should fit flush with the walls as it is with the ceiling material. Okay, windows, if required, are solely to provide illumination and are not for ventilation or communication. So the windows will not be able to open up. This will be only the glass thing in the wall. Okay, and again, this will be fit flush from the interior, interior side of the aseptic area where the process will be going on. So there will not be any accumulation. Okay, and the windows as far as possible are avoided in aseptic area, but for some illumination if required, then the windows are inserted into the walls. The thing is, if you see window and transparent thing and a person is bypassing from them, one cannot communicate by making gestures. That is not current GMP for working into the sterile area. Instead, a phone or intercom is given inside to communicate with the appropriate person. So you cannot say, "अरे जा रहा है तो मुझे आधा घंटा है, wait for me." No, you cannot say that from the window. That is not good manufacturing practice. If you do so, you will be shaking your hands in various directions, and that will disturb the airflow and will cause turbulence. And the turbulence which is created will not effectively swipe off the particles which are generated during the processing of the sterile products. So window is only for the illumination purpose. It is not for ventilation or not for communication. Next is windows should be non-openable. Doors should be well fitted by maintaining the positive pressure, air flow, and self-closing. Doors must be limited in number. So the concept of positive pressure is the aseptic area will have little higher pressure as compared to the immediate exterior of the aseptic area, and there will be various airlock systems that we are going to study in next lecture. So it prevents uh, ingress of exterior air into the aseptic area. Inside pressure is greater. So whenever you will open the door for material flow or personnel flow, always due to inside pressure is higher, the air will move from inside to the outside, and thus it will prevent entry of exterior air into the aseptic area. This is one kind of airlock system. There are various types of airlock system, total 3 in type for various purposes. Okay, so it can be little different also. The interior pressure may be little less as compared to exterior. So if the manufacturing of hazardous material is or radio pharmaceutical is going on or cytotoxic material is going on, then this inside material should not go out into the external environment. Then the exterior pressure will be greater as compared to inside. So this discussion will see when we'll study airlock systems. So generally the pressure difference is there between the aseptic area and the exterior area with respect to specific purpose. So this pressure difference must be maintained all the time whenever it is necessary to open the door. Okay, next is all pipes passing through walls uh, uh, of the rooms should be effectively sealed and should be flush fitted and easily cleanable. Gas cylinders and sinks are avoided into the aseptic area. Light sources in clean room are fitted with ceiling to reduce the collection of the dust and to avoid the distribution of air pattern within the room. And non-essential switches such as room lightening switches should be installed outside the clean area. So that is also, if you have seen all each and every point, the precaution is taken only to prevent accumulation of dust and microbes inside the aseptic area. So that is the difference between construction of aseptic area and construction of general manufacturing. Of course, the care is taken to minimize accumulation and contamination in general manufacturing as well, but it is not as stringent as that of the aseptic area. So with this, we conclude today's discussion. Okay, this we'll see next time. We are running out of time. We have few minutes now. Arey yaar.